having got a little bit familiar now with the concept of a hypothetical or a conditional, let's return to the definition of a valid argument. So, what are the key words in here? Which? If, where, then, must, and must. It expresses the necessity that if certain conditions were satisfied, then other consequences must also be satisfied.
Happen.
Sorry, also.
Must happen.
Yes, must happen, or be the case, or be true. I've found through experience that when I'm teaching the concept of a valid argument, sometimes students will be misled into thinking that it's a categorical type of definition, that it's a categorical statement. So what they will do is they would, for instance, come to an argument and they would say first, well, are the premises true? Okay, they're true. Yeah. Is the conclusion true? Or I believe it's true as well. Therefore it's valid. This is incorrect. And this is why it's important for me to make this distinction early on. And then you won't make this, it's a typical error that people make. Because you're not trying to establish whether the premises are true or the conclusion true. You're not trying to do that. You're not trying to find out whether the statements are categorically true. You're only saying this, that if the premises were true, then the conclusion must also be true. So it could, you can still have a valid argument even if the premises are false. Can you see that?
No.
You can't see that? Yeah? Okay. I will wipe this off and give you an example of an argument where the premises are false. But you will accept, I think, that it is a valid argument. Supposing I said as premises, let's do a thought experiment in that laboratory of our minds. And I said, all camels are dogs, to all dogs are fish. Then what would you say? Let's analyse it. True or false, number one?
False.
All dogs are fish, true or false? Number three, the conclusion? False. What do you think?
False. Because we
What
have
is your feeling?
because we have false premises. We will have false conclusion.
That's incorrect.
Is it?
Yeah.
The premises is wrong.
But
This is a third question, isn't it?
yeah, it's a trick. Yeah, it's a silly question. It's a silly, sorry, not a question, it's an argument. It's a silly argument, but it's meant to illustrate a point. Sometimes points, intellectual points, can be illustrated better with a silly argument or a silly example, because it helps you to remember.
Teacher,
What do you think of this, though? Automatically, you're familiar now with this form of argument, that you correctly inferred the correct conclusion, that all camels are fish. What enables you to do that?
What enables us to
Yeah.
say that
It's
this
not. Yeah.
what do you call it, logic?
It can't be the fact that the premises are true, can it?
No.
See, what the concept of validity or concept of a valid argument is saying is that first, ask yourself, if, okay, the premises are completely wild and silly, but if they were true, then would this also be true?
yeah.
And we accept that. Because we can do this because we're talking about the relationship, a logical relationship between the premises and the conclusion. There we are. Premises and this relationship. It's a logical relationship. Now that logical relationship exists not because of what the argument is talking about or whether the assumptions in it and the conclusion in it are true or false, but on an important thing, a very important thing, and that is the form. I've mentioned this before, briefly. It's the form of the argument that counts. And I'll give you another example of an argument which makes this very clear, that it's the form. Okay, let's have a look at this one. All dingbats are dolly pings. All dolly pings are tads. Therefore,
all dolphins are true.
all what?
All dolphins are true.
That's all ducks.
All
What did you say, sir?
Birds. All dingbats are ducks.
Exactly. All dingbats are tads. Can I ask you, how did you manage to do that? That is logically correct, but how did you manage to do that? What is the meaning of these words? Can I tell you now?
I think toads.
They have no meaning at all. I just made them up right now.
Yeah, just he's following the.
As an answer.
Just
What's the, following the argument, what's the word you're looking for?
نظرية بمشي عليها.
Theory.
No?
No.
That's it, form. That's what you were looking for. This
Specific form, just specific
again,
form.
yeah. Again, it's a wild, silly example, but it does clearly illustrate that what's important for an argument to be valid is the form. If you get the form correct, then the logic will be correct. And namely, that it will be the case that if the premises were true, then the conclusion must also be true.
Sir, with all due respect, we are not solving mathematical problems. Just replace the numbers and make the same process, and you will get the correct result.
Yes.
We are talking about arguments. Arguments are varies more than one.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm going to come to. The next step. You're such a precocious student. Yeah, thank you for helping the lesson to go along. I appreciate that. Now, what we've been talking about is form, logical form. What makes an argument valid? Now, this is important because it is important to begin with to distinguish between the validity of an argument and truth, because they are different concepts. It's true that, as you can see from the definition of a valid argument, truth is used. The concept of truth is used in the definition of a valid argument. But the idea of a valid argument and truth are different. So we would say, you have a valid argument, or I have a valid argument. We would not say, you have a true argument, I have a true argument. Nevertheless, what you say is important. At the end of the day, we're not just concerned with form and logic, but we're concerned with truth.